Today, my hunting team and I set out on a trip to Colorado, a land known for its vast populations of coyotes. They thrive here despite countless efforts to control and eradicate them. In fact, we're allowed to hunt coyotes without a license. The state even encourages it as a way to keep their numbers under control. With careful preparation, rifles, scopes, and electronic collars, we ventured deep into the Colorado prairies to begin a brutal and unforgiving hunt. Now, let's get started. Choosing a strategic ambush spot, we placed a sound device in the tall grass. About an hour later, the first target appeared. A wary coyote, curious yet cautious of the strange call. Step by step it crept closer, ears perked high. Once it reached the perfect range, I fired the first shot. With just a single bullet, the coyote collapsed instantly. The caller kept working its magic, luring more coyotes one after another. And with every accurate shot, we added another trophy to the hunt. As you can see, no matter the distance, these prairie coyotes had little chance of escape. I raised my rifle, adjusted the scope, took a deep breath to steady myself. Carefully aiming for vital spots like the head or chest, my finger tightened on the trigger. The shot rang out. The coyote dropped instantly. One shot, one kill. My teammates acted just as swiftly. Their bullets flew with deadly precision, taking down targets one after another. Coyotes fell in succession, proof of the sharpshooting skill our team had honed. But the noise of battle soon threw the coyotes into chaos. Angry growls echoed across the prairie, yet they didn't scare us off. Locking targets through our scopes. Each precise shot dropped another coyote. Gunfire echoed across the open fields, the atmosphere tense and suffocating. Hours passed, yet the numbers hardly seemed to dwindle. If anything, they came in larger groups, bolder and more aggressive. Crossing a barbed wire fence, we moved to another vantage point to track new packs. It didn't take long before another target appeared. Mimicking a coyote's howl, I managed to draw its attention. The moment it paused, I seized the chance to fire. Perfect shot. With just one bullet, another coyote was taken down. The battle didn't end there. More and more coyotes appeared. Some went down in a single shot, others were quick enough to escape. But many were still claimed by our rifles, making the hunt all the more thrilling and intense. Crossing another fence, we pushed deeper, spotting fresh prey not long after. Again, I used coyote howls to lure them closer. And when the opportunity came, I pulled the trigger without hesitation, swiftly dropping the target. This time, my teammates and I silently took higher ground, giving us a full view of the area and better control of the situation. When a large group of coyotes appeared, I signaled the team to open fire. The final volleys rang out under the afternoon sun. The battle ended in triumph, with coyotes scattered across the grasslands and cornfields. Each weighed between 15–20 kilograms, with their signature wild coats of gray and light brown. And just like that, a long day of relentless coyote hunting came to an end, leaving us both exhausted and exhilarated. The hunt not only brought trophies, but also helped protect crops, livestock, and the livelihood of local people. That's the end of today's video. Which moment impressed you the most during this hunt? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to catch more thrilling hunts.
The village of Alberobello in southern Italy is facing a major threat from aggressive wild boars. Fertile fields have been reduced to wastelands, a testament to the destruction caused by these massive animals described by locals as powerful and lightning fast. Our hunting team was immediately mobilized, determined to track down the source of this chaos. With knowledge of the terrain and solid experience, we divided the area among ourselves, each heading into the oak forest where the boars were hiding. No matter how cunning, wild boars are bound by their own habits. Their familiar trails through the oaks bear countless hoofprints, and that's where they're most vulnerable. I stalked silently, every rustle of leaves sharp enough to freeze my breath. Just as predicted, from a dense thicket across the way, a boar burst out like an arrow through the wind. No hesitation. My finger tightened on the trigger at the decisive moment. A thunderous gunshot cracked through the forest. The beast stumbled, then crashed onto the damp earth. For a hunter, sometimes a single second and a single precise shot are all it takes to end an entire chase. A smooth opening for today's hunt. The sky grew dim, the air in the oak forest thick, cold, and damp. I pushed deeper, where fallen trees blocked the path. My instincts urged me to slow down. Something here felt off. No sounds, no clear tracks, just the sharpened sense of someone used to walking the line between predator and prey. I hid behind a large oak, patiently waiting. Minutes later, a massive boar suddenly emerged from the tangle of fallen trunks. The moment it stepped out, I pulled the trigger. A clean shot. The beast dropped silently. No hesitation. No errors. Only experience can bring that level of precision. I pressed on, quietly moving deeper into the oak forest, each step cautious through the dense terrain. near the forest's edge, I spotted a large boar heading toward the rice fields. No rush. I raised my scope, steady hands, calm breath. One shot, clean, decisive. It collapsed on the spot. No reminders needed. I knew my duty. Stop the threat before it could wreak further havoc on the villagers' crops and land. After a midday break, I slipped into the drier part of the forest, hiding in the shadows to observe. Through thick foliage, I spotted the dark bulk of a boar moving slowly, unaware of the danger closing in. I steadied myself, aimed carefully, and fired the first shot. The bullet stunned the animal before it could react. Wasting no time, I reloaded and fired again. The second shot struck true. The beast was fully under control. With iron will and the hunter's instinct, I had pushed back the threat, determined to protect the forests and fields for the people. By late afternoon, as the sun sank low, I moved from the woods toward the roadside. Taking up a pre-assigned position, I spotted a herd of wild boars charging near a path, often used by villagers. I stayed calm, fully focused, eyes locked on target, then unleashed a precise volley. With the final shot, one boar toppled violently to the ground, while the rest bolted in panic, disappearing into the deep forest. For now, they wouldn't dare return to menace this area. Remember, if you're not a trained hunter, never recklessly face these beasts. You could become the prey at any moment. And if you think I was a cool shot, give me a like. As the sun set behind the oak ridge, I found the last herd hiding near the forest's edge. Without hesitation, I fired a burst, driving them back into the depths of the woods, ending a long day of hunting alone with grit and resolve. Not long after, my teammates arrived in a red Range Rover. Sitting in the truck, we shared stories of the hunt, reliving moments through the footage captured on my Canon camera. For the sake of Alberobello, we don't mind losing sleep, spending our strength, or facing danger, so long as it means peace of mind for the villagers and safety for their harvests. Don't forget to hit subscribe and join us on the next thrilling hunts. Early morning in Alberobello, the village famed for its ancient trellis houses, we discovered fresh tracks of a wild boar herd. Right on the edge of the field, we gathered quickly, determined the herd's direction, and set up ambush points. Everyone knew the terrain by heart, so within minutes we were ready. At first, it felt like a routine hunt, but none of us expected what came next, a fierce counterattack from the herd. The danger was far greater than anticipated. Could we push forward, capture them, or would we be forced to yield before nature's ferocity? Join us on this perilous chase to find out. No matter how cunning, wild boars are creatures of habit. They follow the same trails between their feeding grounds and shelters. And we knew that pattern well. That morning, we waited near a dry, grassy field, knowing sooner or later one would cross in search of food. Sure enough, a sow suddenly appeared. The first shot startled her, and she bolted forward. The hunting dogs immediately charged after her. Bullets tore through the air, striking the target. The beast staggered before vanishing into the woods. The chase lasted only minutes, but it was enough to push back one threat. For hunters, victory doesn't come only from strength, but from a sharp mind that reads the prey and acts at the right moment. Not long after, nearby, as if by habit, another dark shape lumbered down the forest trail in search of food. Mark raised his binoculars, studying its every move, then directed all attention to the target. Without hesitation, he ordered John, the team's top marksman, to fire. A single bullet sliced through the air. The deafening crack echoed, precise and final. The beast collapsed instantly, disappearing beneath the tall, dry grass. Our seamless coordination wasn't just from training, but from hundreds of hunts together, in forests, on mountains, through the harshest seasons. At midday, under the scorching sun, we had just stopped to rest by the field when the reeds nearby began to rustle. Suddenly, a jet-black boar burst out, sprinting along the path. I lifted my rifle in a flash, aimed and fired a clean hit. The dogs rushed in, overwhelming the animal, leaving it no chance to rise again. That instant reflex and decisiveness is something every hunter must possess. No matter the circumstances, we stand firm, protecting every inch of farmland, never letting these destroyers survive. By late afternoon, the sun had eased, and we switched to dirt bikes to conserve energy across the wide fields. Suddenly, another dark figure appeared, running wildly across the open ground. John signaled for me to pursue. Gunfire echoed one after another, but the beast was clever, zigzagging unpredictably. As John and I closed in from both sides, it faltered. I seized the moment, fired, and struck true. Our success was the result of careful preparation and flawless teamwork bound by a common mission. We climbed into the pickup and drove across another field, following fresh tracks pressed into the dry soil. At one point, Ellie got out to scout. The dogs ran ahead while she quietly followed, her eyes scanning every movement. John sat beside me, gripping his rifle, ready at any moment. Mark held the wheel steady, guiding us toward the harvested fields, where boars often hid among leftover straw stacks. Suddenly, a dark blur shot across our path. Instinctively, I pulled the trigger. Gunshots erupted in rhythm with my racing breath. Experience told me, opportunities last only a split second, and I made mine count, dropping the beast and restoring peace to the field. As evening fell, the blazing sunset shone directly into my face. A herd of wild boars was fleeing toward the forest after wreaking havoc on the fields. Exhausted and drenched in sweat, I focused every shot with pinpoint accuracy. One by one, they collapsed, ending the chase quickly and decisively. But remember this: if you are not a seasoned hunter, never confront them. At any moment, you could become the prey. The sun dipped below the tree-line, and the last rays faded. Darkness set in, yet the mission wasn't over. John raised his scope, locked onto a lone black boar on the field. 2 shots rang out. Startled, it bolted into the forest. Another threat driven back. By nightfall, we decided not to pursue further. We packed up, climbed into the old buggy, and quietly left the fields. As we rode away, we replayed the footage on our Canon camera, each frame a fragment of memory from an unforgettable day of hunting. We take pride in protecting the fields and the peaceful lives of the people of Alberobello. Though the hunt is grueling and dangerous, we never falter, because the safety of the village always comes first. Stay with us, and join us again on the next journey. At dawn in southern Italy, the golden meadows shimmered like a thin curtain of light, and that was when our helicopter tore through the morning mist, launching a relentless mission. The roar of the engine echoed inside the cramped cockpit like a pounding heartbeat, yet everyone remained silent. The sound of loading weapons clicked sharply, a signal that today was a day where failure was not an option. On the very first scouting loop, the herd revealed itself, dark silhouettes creeping along the forest edge. The moment they heard the helicopter screaming above, they scattered in panic. I held the stick steady, dipping the aircraft to the perfect altitude, while John raised his rifle, eyes locked on the target. In the blink of an eye, a burst of shots rang out, each bullet flying as if guided by fate. The final round struck the lead boar, ending the first encounter of the morning. No misses, a perfect opening shot, a sign of the challenges to come. The battle to protect the harvest had only grown more difficult. But our team of hunters carried a vow of steel. These destroyers would not roam here unchecked. By midday, the sun blazed overhead, its glare shimmering through the treetops. Then came the second herd, larger, wilder, more chaotic. I maneuvered the helicopter, tailing their swirling escape, carving out the perfect vantage point for John, who by then had transformed into a marksman in his element. The bullets danced through the air, striking each target with preordained precision. We moved in sync like a special ops unit, completing the mission without a single word exchanged. Everything we did was for one purpose: to protect the villagers' harvest, to keep their lives safe from the chaos of the wild. As sunset laid a golden carpet across the meadows, 2 stray boars came into sight from above, an opportunity too good to miss. John steadied his breath, as if time itself had stopped. 2 bullets, 2 targets, 2 flawless kills. We exchanged a nod. Words were unnecessary. Our connection was so sharp that a single glance spoke volumes. How did you feel about that perfect coordination? Share your thoughts in the comments below. The evening sun cast long shadows over the fields, making shots from the air increasingly unstable. Without hesitation, we decided, land the chopper, hunt on foot, boots pressed against the scorched grass trails as we push forward. Suddenly, a low growl rumbled from the thickets. Instinct kicked in. I raised my rifle, steadied, and fired. One clean shot, one clean kill. Moments later, the hunting dogs rushed in, finishing the job in absolute silence. The grasslands once again returned to peace. On a bed of golden grass, a lone boar stretched out, completely unaware. We crept closer with utmost caution, not letting a sound disturb the fragile stillness. When within range, I raised my rifle. Every move was swift, sharp, and efficient. My finger pulled the trigger, the bullet struck dead on. The beast collapsed without a single gasp. What did you think of that shot? Comment below, and let's break it down together. We decided to extend the hunt until dusk, for the villagers still could not rest easy. The destroyers of rice fields were still out there, and every minute of delay meant another plot of farmland lost. From a cluster of trees, a strange rustle erupted. A massive boar burst forth, snarling fiercely. I had no time to react, but John did. A few quick controlled shots, and it was over. Each round he fired was measured to the millimeter, proof of a seasoned hunter's mastery. In seconds, the threat was gone, as if it had never existed. That was the calm precision of a true marksman, whose every move felt like destiny itself. This hunt concluded with a series of breathtaking encounters where every member of our team showed both skill and perfect coordination. Each bullet fired was not just an act of marksmanship, but the result of meticulous preparation, razor-sharp focus, and an unshakable sense of duty. Stay tuned for the next episode, a grueling journey across vast, snow-covered hills. In the bitter cold, will we still hold the advantage, or will the wild boars reclaim the upper hand? The answer awaits in the next hunt. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can continue to join us on these tough but unforgettable adventures.